word. It implies boundaries. It implies a lack of predation. It suggests that we are civilized people who have evolved beyond the base animalistic urges of attraction. We convince ourselves that we have hacked the system. We believe we can enjoy the emotional intimacy of a lover without the messy complications of a relationship. We think we can stand next to the fire and not get burned, simply because we have labeled the fire warmth. Let's dissect the anatomy of this friendship. It usually starts innocently. It almost always does. Perhaps they work together. The work spouse, a term we invented to sanitize emotional infidelity. They share a cubicle wall. They share complaints about the coffee. They share the trauma of a micromanaging supervisor. It is a bond forged in the trenches of the mundane. He brings her a bagel because he was stopping anyway. She fixes his tie before a big presentation because it was crooked. Small gestures, tiny microscopic bricks laid day by day, building a house that neither of them realizes they are moving into. Then comes the digital escalation, the text messages. At first, they are logistical. Meeting is at 10. Did you see that email? But then the emojis appear. The jokes migrate from the office to the commute home. Then the timeline shifts. A text at 7 p.m., then 9 p.m., then the dangerous threshold, the late-night text. Nothing good happens in a text message sent after midnight between two people who claim to be just friends. The darkness changes the context. The glowing screen becomes a confessional booth. They start talking about dreams, about fears, about the things their actual partners are too tired or too busy to hear. They are building a secret language, a lexicon of inside jokes and references that creates a wall around them, keeping the rest of the world out. This is the phase of plausible deniability. If anyone were to read the transcripts, they could argue legally that nothing has happened. There are no overt declarations of love. There is no sexting. It is just talking. But it is the kind of talking that is dangerous. It is the emotional undressing. They are stripping naked, layer by layer, removing the armor they wear for the rest of the world, until they are standing raw and exposed before each other, and they call this friendship. They are high on the drug of being seen. That is the core of the seduction. It isn't always about sex. In fact, in the beginning, it is rarely about sex. It is about validation. It is the intoxicating feeling of being the center of someone else's universe, even if just for an hour over lunch. It is the feeling of being understood without having to explain.
But biology is patient. Biology is the silent writer in the room, drafting a script they are refusing to read. Biology doesn't care about their logic. It doesn't care about their relationship status on Facebook. It cares about proximity. It cares about eye contact. It cares about the pheromones dancing in the air between them. Let's go back to the car. The rain is harder now. The windows are fogging up, sealing them in further. He stops talking. The silence stretches. It is heavy, pregnant with the things they aren't saying. This is the precipice. This is the moment where the lie begins to crumble under its own weight. He turns to look at her. Really look at her. He notices the way a stray hair has fallen across her cheek. His hand twitches. His brain is firing a command. Reach out. Tuck the hair behind her ear. It is a simple, innocent gesture. A friend would do that, right? A friend would fix a stray hair. But he knows, and she knows, that if he touches that hair, the world changes. The line is crossed. The just friends treaty is violated. Because his hand won't just brush the hair, his fingers will graze her skin, and her skin will send a signal to her spine, and her breath will hitch, just a fraction of a second, but loud enough for him to hear. He hesitates. He is terrified. He is terrified of ruining what they have, but he is more terrified of never knowing what they could be. He is weighing the destruction of his current life against the promise of this moment. And she is waiting. She is frozen. She sees his hand twitch. She is willing it to move. She is praying for the violation. She wants the lie to end. She is tired of pretending that his presence doesn't affect her gravity. This is the tragedy of the just friends dynamic. It is a state of constant, low-level suffering. It is a hunger that is never fed, a thirst that is never quenched. They are starving to death at a banquet, hands tied behind their backs by their own declarations of platonic intent. Let's widen the scope. Let's look at the partners they are leaving behind, the significant others waiting at home. They are the victims of this silent crime. They sense the distance. They feel the cold draft coming from the person sleeping next to them. They ask, "Who were you texting?" And they get the answer, "Oh, just Mike. Just Sarah. From work." And they accept it. Because they trust. Because they believe in the concept of friendship. But they notice the smile that appears on their partner's face when the phone buzzes, a smile they haven't been able to elicit in years. They notice the new energy, the sudden interest in new music or new hobbies that originated from this friend.
They are being replaced, not physically, but emotionally. Their partner is outsourcing their intimacy. The emotional labor of the relationship is being shipped off to a third party. The friend gets the best parts, the jokes, the dreams, the manic energy. The partner gets the leftovers, the bills, the chores, the exhaustion. The just friends lie is a form of theft. It steals the energy that belongs to the primary relationship and funnels it into a fantasy. Now let's move the scene. Let's take them out of the car. Let's put them at a party, a crowded room, music thumping, alcohol flowing. Alcohol is the great solvent of lies. It dissolves the barriers we carefully construct. They are standing in the kitchen, leaning against the counter. The room is full of people, but they are in their own private bubble. They are standing just a little too close. Their shoulders are almost touching. They are shouting to be heard over the music, which means they are leaning into each other's personal space, inhaling each other's breath. Someone walks by and says, "You two would make a great couple." They laugh. They laugh too loud. No, they protest. "We're just friends, like siblings, really." The sibling defense, the ultimate deflection. It is meant to be the nail in the coffin of sexual tension, but it rings hollow. If they were siblings, why is he looking at her lips? If they were siblings, why is she playing with the buttons on his shirt? The person walks away, unconvinced. The air between them shifts. The comment hangs there. The idea has been spoken into existence. It is no longer a secret thought. It is a public possibility. He looks at her. The alcohol has dulled the fear and sharpened the desire. "Can you imagine?" he says. "Us?" She laughs nervously. "Disaster," she says. "We'd kill each other." "Maybe," he says. His voice drops an octave. "Or maybe it would be amazing." Silence. The noise of the party fades into the background. The lie is gasping for air. "We shouldn't talk like this," she whispers. "Why not?" he challenges. "We're just friends, right? Friends can joke?" "Is this a joke?" he asks. He doesn't answer. He takes a sip of his drink, watching her over the rim of the glass. The predatory gaze is back, thinly veiled. This is the dance, the push and pull. They step up to the line, look over the edge, and then step back, breathless. It is an addiction, the adrenaline of the almost, the dopamine hit of the forbidden. But why do we do it? Why do we torture ourselves? Because the just friend zone is a sanctuary for the unrequited. It is a holding pattern for people who are waiting for the timing to align. It is a waiting room for love. One of them is usually in love, maybe both, but they are trapped by circumstance, by timing, by fear of rejection. So they settle. They take the scraps. They accept the friend label because it is better than the stranger label. They would rather have a piece of the person than nothing at all. They convince themselves that being a confidant is enough. but it is never enough. Let's look at the biology again, the oxytocin. When you spend hours talking to someone, when you share vulnerabilities, your brain releases bonding chemicals. It is the same chemical cocktail that bonds a mother to a child or lovers after sex. You cannot trick your brain. Your brain doesn't know you signed a verbal contract to be just friends. Your brain knows that this person makes you feel safe, makes you feel good, and your brain wants more of it. So, the brain starts to rationalize. It starts to rewrite history. It starts to paint the current partner as the villain, or at least as the obstacle. My wife doesn't understand me like she does. My boyfriend never listens to me like he does. The friend becomes the ideal. The friend is perfect because the friend doesn't have to deal with the reality of life. The friend doesn't have to argue about whose turn it is to do the dishes. The friend only sees the curated version of the self. It is a relationship built on highlights, devoid of the blooper reel. It is a fantasy competing with reality, and reality rarely wins that fight. Back to the car. The rain has stopped. The silence is deafening. He turns off the ignition. The engine dies. The heat begins to dissipate immediately, replaced by the creeping cold of the night. "I should go in," she says. She doesn't move. "Yeah," he says. He doesn't unlock the doors. This is the moment. The crossover. The point of no return. If she opens the door and leaves, the lie survives another day. They can go back to their lives, text each other in the morning, and pretend this tension didn't almost suffocate them. But if he reaches out, he reaches out. His hand covers hers on the console. His skin is hot. Hers is cold. The contrast is electric. She looks down at their hands. She doesn't pull away. This is the acceptance of the crime. By not pulling away, she is signing the confession. "We're in trouble," she whispers. "I know," he says. He leans in. It is slow, agonizingly slow. It is the slow-motion car crash they have been driving toward for months. The distance closes. The scent of his cologne, the scent of her shampoo. These sensory details that were once background noise now become the only things in the world. Their lips meet, and the lie dies. The Just Friends banner bursts into flames. In that kiss, there is no friendship. There is hunger. There is desperation. There is the release of months of repressed energy. It is violent and tender and catastrophic.
It is the end of innocence. They can never go back. They can never sit in a coffee shop and just talk about the weather again. The dynamic has shifted permanently. The ambiguity is gone, replaced by a terrifying clarity. They pull apart, breathless. They look at each other, and they see strangers. The friend is gone. The lover has arrived, and with the lover comes the guilt. The reality crashes in. The phone in her purse buzzes. It's him, the boyfriend, the one waiting upstairs. "Where are you? It's late." She stares at the screen. The text message looks like it's from a different dimension, a different life. She looks at the man in the driver's seat. He looks wrecked. He knows what they just did. He knows they just detonated 2 lives for the sake of a moment. "I have to go," she says. Her voice is shaking. "Okay," he says. She opens the door. The cold air rushes in, sharp and biting. She steps out onto the wet pavement. She doesn't look back. She walks toward the building, her legs feeling heavy, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs.
and the name of the righteous returns.
It's the comparison game. You come home to a partner who is tired, cranky, and wearing sweatpants. You just spent 2 hours at happy hour with a friend who was dressed up, charming, and focused entirely on you. It is an unfair comparison. You are comparing a highlight reel to a documentary, but the brain prefers the highlight reel. And so, the resentment builds. You start to resent your partner for not being the friend. You start to withhold things. You have a funny story, you save it for the friend. You have a worry, you text the friend. Your partner gets the silence. Your partner gets the shell. The just friends lie is a parasite. It feeds on the primary relationship until it is a husk. Let's explore the concept of the orbiter. In the age of social media, the friend zone has been digitized. We keep people in our orbit. We like their photos. We comment with fire emojis. We keep the connection alive on life support, just in case. Just in case our current relationship fails. Just in case we get lonely. It is a backup plan disguised as friendship. I'm just being friendly, we say, as we slide into the DMs. But we know exactly what we are doing. We are planting seeds. We are maintaining a roster. It is a cynical view, perhaps, but look at the data. Look at the divorce rates. Look at how many relationships start from friends. The transition is common because the foundation is strong. Friendship is a great foundation for romance. The best, actually. That's the irony. The just friends lie is so effective because it is based on a half-truth. They are friends. They are likely best friends. That's why the attraction is so potent. That's why the betrayal feels so natural. It feels like evolution, not destruction. But let's look at the scenario where the line isn't crossed. Let's look at the version of the story where they stay in the car, talk about the weather, and go home. They live in the tension. They live in the what if. They grow old, perhaps drifting apart, or perhaps staying close, watching each other's children grow, attending each other's anniversaries. And there, in the quiet moments, at the barbecue or the wedding reception, they catch each other's eye, and they know. They share a ghost life, a life where they opened the door, a life where they kissed, a life where they ran away together. They mourn a relationship that never existed. Is that better? Is the noble suffering of the friend zone better than the catastrophic explosion of the affair? The screenwriters of our lives, our egos, prefer the drama. We want the explosion. We want the rain-slicked street and the desperate kiss. We want to feel alive. And that is the ultimate seduction of the lie. It makes us feel alive. The secrecy acts as an accelerant. The stolen glances are more exciting than a decade of stable marriage. The forbidden fruit tastes sweeter simply because it is forbidden. But the sweetness is fleeting. The sugar crash is inevitable.
Because once the line is crossed, the friend ceases to exist. You cannot downgrade a lover back to a friend. It is a one-way street. Once you have seen someone naked, physically or emotionally, you cannot unsee them. You cannot go back to talking about spreadsheets and weather. So when they cross that line, they are sacrificing the friendship on the altar of romance. They are gambling the one thing they know is real, the friendship, for the one thing that is a gamble, the relationship. It is a high-stakes bet. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes they ride off into the sunset and realize they were soulmates all along. We started as friends, they tell their grandchildren. It's a sweet story. But more often, it crashes. The sex complicates things. The expectations shift. The guilt eats them alive. The relationship burns hot and fast and leaves nothing but ash. And then, when the smoke clears, they look for their friend. But the friend is gone. The friend was consumed by the fire. And they are left with nothing, no lover, no friend, just the memory of a lie they told themselves in a car at 2 a.m. Let's return to the narrative flow. We need to understand the architecture of the slow burn. The slow burn is the timeline of the lie. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in phases. Phase 1, the discovery. He meets her. She meets him. There is a spark, not a bonfire, just a spark, a curiosity. Who is this person? They start interacting. They find common ground. You like obscure 80s synth pop? Me too. The dopamine drips. Phase 2, the integration. They start weaving their lives together. Lunch breaks, group hangs. They become a unit within the friend group. Where's Jack? Oh, he's with Maya, obviously. The world starts to pair them up before they pair themselves up. They deny it, of course. Don't be weird, we're just buds. But they love the pairing. They love that the world sees them as a set. Phase 3, the boundary push. This is where the physical contact starts, the accidental touches, the knee touching knee under the table, the long hugs, the playful punches on the arm that linger. They are testing the electric fence, seeing if it shocks them. It does, and they like the jolt. Phase 4, the exclusion. They start excluding others. They create opportunities to be alone. I'll drive you home. Let's grab a drink, just us, to discuss the project. The group hang becomes the duo hang. They are carving out a private world. Phase 5, the crisis. Something happens in one of their lives. A parent dies, a job is lost, a breakup happens. They turn to each other. The friend steps into the role of the primary emotional caregiver. This creates a debt of gratitude and a depth of intimacy that is hard to reverse. He was there for me when no one else was. This justifies the feelings. It ennobles the betrayal. Phase 6, the confession.
Usually fueled by alcohol or extreme stress. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're the only one who gets me. The words skirt the edge of I love you without actually saying it. They are throwing stones at the glass house, waiting for it to shatter. Phase 7, the crossing. The kiss, the sex, the realization. This structure is universal. It transcends culture. It transcends age. It is the human condition. We are constantly negotiating the space between us and others. We are constantly drawing lines in the sand and then watching the tide wash them away. Let's visualize the internal monologue of the just friend. Don't look at her lips. Don't look at her lips. She's talking about her tax returns, for God's sake. Why is she so beautiful when she talks about taxes? Look away. Look at the waiter. No, that's rude. Look at her eyes. Safe. Eyes are the windows to the soul, right? Friendly. But her eyes are dilated. Is she looking at me, or is she looking through me? Does she know? She has to know. I'm broadcasting this on every frequency. Stop it. You're a good guy. Good guys don't covet their friend's wife. Good guys don't fantasize about their coworker. Just drink your coffee. Be a friend. Be a wall. Be a stone. And hers. Why is he looking at me like that? Does he see the stain on my shirt? Or does he see me? He's being so nice. Too nice. My boyfriend hasn't looked at me like that in 3 years. I feel pretty when I'm with him. Is that wrong? Feeling pretty isn't a crime. I'm not doing anything. We're just talking. But I want him to touch my hand, just once, just to see if it feels like lightning. No, stop. That's dangerous. That's how it starts. But maybe I want it to start. Maybe I want to burn it all down. The internal conflict is the engine of the drama. It is the friction that creates the heat. Now, let's talk about the friend zone as a weapon. Sometimes the lie is used manipulatively. One person knows the other is in love with them. They have no intention of reciprocating, but they love the attention. They keep the person on the hook. They feed them crumbs of hope. I wish I could find a guy like you. Why are all the men I date jerks? They use the friend as a surrogate boyfriend, girlfriend. They get the emotional support, the validation, the favors, the rides to the airport, the shoulder to cry on, and they give nothing back but the title, bestie. This is the dark side of we're just friends.
It is exploitation. It is emotional vampirism. The person in the friend zone is a victim of their own hope. They believe that if they just wait long enough, if they are just supportive enough, the friend will wake up and realize the love of their life has been right there all along.
It rarely happens. The friend usually ends up dating someone else, someone who didn't wait, someone who claimed them, someone who created a spark rather than a safety net. And the just friend is left holding the bag, resentful and heartbroken, having wasted years on a lie. But let's return to our couple in the car, the ones who crossed the line. The aftermath. The next day, the sun comes up, the rain is gone. The world looks the same, but it is different. She wakes up next to her boyfriend. He is sleeping soundly. She feels a wave of nausea. She looks at her phone. No texts. She goes to work. She sees him, the architect. He is at his desk. He looks up. Their eyes meet. It is a moment of terror. Will he smile? Will he look away? Will he pretend it didn't happen? He doesn't smile. He looks grave. He nods, a tiny, imperceptible movement. It is an acknowledgement of the shared secret. They meet in the break room. The air is vibrating. "We need to talk," she says. "Not here," he says. "Lunch." "Yeah." They go to lunch, not their usual spot, somewhere dark, somewhere out of the way. They are already acting like criminals. They are already hiding. "I can't believe we did that," she says. "I'm not sorry," he says. She looks at him, shocked. "You're not?" "No, I've wanted to do that for a year. But what about?" "I don't know," he says. "I don't have the answers. I just know that being just friends was a lie, and I'm done lying." She stares at her salad. The truth is a heavy thing to carry. "So, what are we?" she asks. "We're not friends," he says. "We're complicated." Complicated, the new label, the label that covers a multitude of sins. They embark on the affair. It is passionate. It is intense. It is fueled by the fear of getting caught. Every text is a risk. Every meeting is a tactical operation. They are living in a spy movie. But the stress mounts. The guilt erodes them. She snaps at her boyfriend for no reason. He becomes distant from his wife. The primary relationships crumble, not because of a direct confrontation, but because of the rot from within. Eventually, the truth comes out. It always does. A text left open, a receipt found in a pocket, a friend who saw them at the dark restaurant. The explosion, the tears, the screaming matches, the packing of bags. "She was just a friend," the boyfriend screams. "You told me she was just a friend." "I thought she was," she cries. And part of her believes it. Part of her believes she was innocent until the very last second. The dust settles, the marriages end, the relationships dissolve. Now he and she are standing in the wreckage. They are free. They can be together. No more hiding. No more just friends. But something is wrong. The magic is gone. The tension that held them together was the tension of the forbidden. Without the barrier, the attraction fades. They realize that they bonded over their unhappiness, not over their compatibility. They realize that the friendship was actually just a mutual complaining society. They try to make it work. They date. They move in together. But the shadow of how they started looms over them. If she cheated with him, she could cheat on him. The trust is compromised from day one. And they miss the friendship. They miss the easy camaraderie they had before the sex complicated everything. They realize they ruined a perfectly good friendship to create a mediocre relationship. And so, they break up. And now, they are strangers again, but worse than strangers. They are people who know each other's secrets and can never speak again. They pass each other on the street and look down. The lie of "we are just friends" destroyed everything. But let's consider the alternative. Let's consider the success story, because we are romantics at heart. Sometimes the just friends phase is the incubation period for a great love. It is the foundation pouring. They get to know each other without the pressure of romance. They see each other without makeup, without pretense. They build a trust that is unshakable. And when they finally cross the line, it isn't an explosion, it is a homecoming.
It is two pieces of a puzzle finally clicking into place. Ah, they say, it's you. It's always been you. And they transition from friends to lovers seamlessly. The passion is there, but it is supported by the friendship. They are lovers who actually like each other. They are partners who can laugh together. This is the dream. This is why we buy into the lie. We hope that the friend zone is just the waiting room for the soulmate zone. But it is a dangerous game. It is walking a tightrope without a net. Let's look at the societal pressure. We are told that men and women cannot be friends. When Harry Met Sally taught us that. The sex part always gets in the way. Is that true, or is that a self-fulfilling prophecy? Can we evolve? Can we appreciate beauty without wanting to possess it? Can we enjoy emotional intimacy without needing physical release? It requires maturity. It requires boundaries. It requires radical honesty. I find you attractive, you say to your friend. But I value our friendship and my commitments more than I value acting on that attraction. That is the truth. That is the antidote to the lie. Acknowledging the attraction takes the power away from it. Bringing it into the light kills the fungus that grows in the dark. But we are cowards. We don't want to have that awkward conversation. We don't want to risk the rejection. So we hide behind just friends. We use the label as a shield.
Let's go deeper into the psychology of the back burner. Research shows that many people in relationships maintain contact with potential alternative partners. It is an evolutionary strategy, hedging your bets. If the mammoth hunt fails, you have berries stored in the cave. The just friend is the berries. It sounds cold. It sounds calculating. But the subconscious is a survivalist. It wants to ensure genetic continuity. It wants security. But we are not just animals. We are conscious beings. We have the capacity for loyalty. We have the capacity to choose. The lie of "we're just friends" is a failure of choice. It is a refusal to choose a lane. It is trying to have your cake and eat it too. It is the gray area, and the gray area is where the ghosts live. Let's paint a scene of the almost. A rooftop party, summer. The city lights are twinkling below like a carpet of diamonds. They are standing at the edge, looking out. She is shivering. He gives her his jacket, a classic move. The jacket smells like him. She wraps it around herself. It is a hug by proxy. "You look nice in that," he says. "It's too big," she says. "That's why it looks nice." They smile. They are happy. They are suspended in the perfect moment. "You know," he starts, "sometimes I wonder." "Don't," she says. She knows what he is going to ask. What if? Don't what? Don't ruin it. Is asking ruining it? Yes, because once you ask, I have to answer, and I don't have an answer that doesn't hurt someone. He nods. He understands. He respects the boundary. He steps back. "Okay," he says. "Just friends." "Just friends," she agrees. But there is a sadness in her eyes, a mourning for the life they aren't going to live. They stay on the roof for a while longer, watching the city. Then they go back down to the party. They circulate. They talk to other people. But they are tethered by an invisible thread. They saved the friendship, but at what cost? The cost of the what if. They will carry that what if for the rest of their lives. It will be a small stone in their shoe, a persistent, dull ache. So, which is the lie? We're just friends? Or I don't love you? Maybe they are both lies. Maybe the truth is, I love you, but I can't have you, so I will settle for being your friend because it is the only way I can keep you in my life. That is the heartbreaking truth of the friend zone. It is often a place of great sacrifice. It is a place where people love quietly, without reward, without acknowledgement. The unsung heroes of the friend zone, the ones who listen to the breakup stories, the ones who help move the furniture, the ones who drive to the airport, they are loving actively, practically,
while the lovers are often selfish and dramatic. Maybe the just friends are the best lovers of all, they just don't get the title. Let's zoom out again. The car, the rain, the couple. What if we change the ending? He reaches out. He touches her hand.
She pulls away. No, she says. I'm sorry. He says, pulling his hand back as if burned. I can't, she says. I love him, and I value you too much to make you the mistake. He stares at the steering wheel. The rejection stings, but there is also relief. The line held. The fortress stood. You're right, he says. I'm sorry. I crossed the line. You walked up to it, she corrects, but we didn't cross it. Can we still be friends? She looks at him. She sees the pain in his eyes. She sees the desire. She knows it won't go away overnight. I think we need a break, she says. We need some space to let the air clear. Space, he repeats. It sounds like a death sentence. Just for a while, until we can be just friends, for real. She opens the door. She steps out into the rain. She runs to the building. He watches her go. He knows she is right. He knows this is the honorable path. But it feels like losing a limb. He drives away. He goes home to his empty apartment. He sits in the dark. He deletes her text thread. It is a digital funeral. He is doing the right thing, but the right thing feels cold. The lie of "we're just friends" was a warm blanket. The truth is a cold shower. But eventually, the feelings fade. The obsession cools. He meets someone else, someone who is available, someone who is his. And years later, he runs into her. They are at a coffee shop. Hey, she says. She looks different. Older. Happy. Hey, he says. They hug. It is a friendly hug. Brief. Pat on the back. No lingering. No electricity. Just warmth. How are you? Good. Married. 2 kids. You? Same. Just got promoted. They talk for 5 minutes. It is easy. It is light. The heavy, suffocating tension of that night in the car is gone. It is a distant memory, like a fever dream. It was good to see you. You too. We should catch up sometime. Yeah, definitely. They won't. They both know they won't. And that's okay. They walk away. He gets into his car. He smiles. He realizes that they've finally made it. They are finally, truly, just friends. It took breaking apart to make the statement true. Fade out. Scene 2. The anatomy of a text. Fade in. A smartphone screen. Extreme close-up. The brightness is blinding in the dark room. It is 11:42 p.m. The 3 dots appear. The typing bubble. The modern heartbeat. Thump thump. Thump thump.
The bubble disappears. He stopped typing. Why? What did he almost say? This is the torment of the digital age friend. The unseen edit. He is sitting on his couch. A half-empty beer on the table. He typed, "I miss you." He looked at it. "I miss you." Too much. Too intimate. He backspaces. He types, "Thinking of you." Still too much. He backspaces. He types, "Did you see the game?" Safe. Boring. Friendly. He sends it. Wish. She is in bed. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand. She picks it up. "Did you see the game?"
She sighs. She doesn't care about the game. She knows he doesn't care if she saw the game. He wants contact. He is pinging the sonar. She types, "No, who won?" She is playing along. This is the script. He types, "Lakers. Close game." She types, "Nice." Dead end. The conversation is dying on the vine. He wants to say more. He wants to say, "My apartment feels empty." He wants to say, "I wish you were here to watch it with me." But he can't. Because they are just friends. So he sends a meme. A funny dog video. She laughs. She sends a cry laughing emoji. This is the currency of their relationship. Memes and emojis. Proxies for emotions. The just friends lie thrives in the digital space. It is easier to lie with thumbs than with tongues. You can curate your tone. You can hide your desperation behind LOL. Let's analyze the good morning text. If you text a friend good morning every single day, you are in a relationship. You just haven't admitted it yet. Good morning is a claim. It says, "You are the first thought in my head when I wake up." Friends don't do that. Friends text when they have something to say. Lovers text to establish presence. If you are waking up next to someone and texting someone else good morning while you are on the toilet, you are crossing the line. You are giving the friend the prime real estate of your consciousness. And the good night text. The bookend. Sweet dreams. That is intimate. That is tucking them in. That is whispering in their ear in the dark. The digital footprint of the just friends lie is massive. If we could visualize the data, the connection lines between them would be glowing red hot, while the lines to their partners would be cool blue. The volume of data tells the truth. Let's look at the photos. Scroll through his camera roll. Photo of his dog. Photo of his car. Screenshot of a recipe. Selfie with her. Another selfie with her. Candid shot of her laughing. Why does he have a candid shot of her laughing? Because he wanted to capture her joy. He wanted to own a piece of it. That is the behavior of a lover, a historian of the beloved. He looks at that photo when he is lonely. He zooms in on her smile. Does he do that with his buddy Dave? Does he zoom in on Dave's smile? No. The evidence is there. It is in the pocket. It is in the cloud. We're just friends. The cloud disagrees. Scene 3. The third wheel. Fade in. A restaurant. A booth. 3 people. The couple. Him, the boyfriend, and her, the girlfriend. The friend. Him, the just friend. Let's call him the interloper. The interloper is sitting across from them. The dynamic is fascinating. The boyfriend is eating his burger. He is comfortable. He has the ring, or the assumption of the ring. He has the title. The interloper is performing. He is telling a story. He is funny. He is engaging. He is trying to justify his presence.
The girlfriend is laughing. She is looking at the interloper. Her body is turned slightly toward him. The boyfriend notices. He chews slowly. He feels the exclusion. "Remember that time we went to the beach?" the interloper says to the girlfriend. "Oh my God, yes," she says. "The seagull." They laugh, an inside joke, a memory the boyfriend doesn't share. The boyfriend sits in the silence of their laughter. He is the outsider in his own relationship. "When was this?" the boyfriend asks. "Oh, last summer," she says. "Before we met." "Right," the boyfriend says. The interloper senses the tension. He tries to include the boyfriend. "You would have loved it, man." "I'm sure," the boyfriend says. The interloper is the nice guy. He isn't trying to steal her, not consciously. He respects the relationship, but he loves her company. He loves making her laugh, and he is better at it than the boyfriend is. This is the threat. The threat isn't always sexual. The threat is compatibility. The boyfriend feels inadequate. He feels boring compared to the sparkling energy of the interloper. Later, in the car ride home, "He's a nice guy," the boyfriend says. "Yeah, he's great," she says. "He seems really into you." "What? No, we're just friends. He's like a brother." "He doesn't look at you like a brother." "You're being paranoid." "Am I?" Gaslighting. Unintentional, perhaps, but gaslighting nonetheless. She is denying his reality because acknowledging it would be too inconvenient. She wants to keep both, the security of the boyfriend and the spark of the interloper. But the boyfriend pulls away. He becomes sullen. He stops trying. Why bother, he thinks. She'd rather be with him. And so the prophecy fulfills itself. The relationship dies because of the shadow of the friend. And when they break up, who is there to pick up the pieces? The interloper. "He didn't deserve you," the interloper says, handing her a tissue. "Like who?" she asks, tearfully. "Like someone," he says. And the cycle begins. Scene 4, the workplace. Fade in. The office. Fluorescent lights. Gray carpet. The hum of computers. This is the breeding ground of the just friends lie. You spend more time with your coworkers than your family. You see them under stress. You see them succeed. You solve problems together. Shared struggle creates bonds. The work wife, the work husband. It's a joke, but it's not a joke. They go to lunch every day. They have a routine. "Thai or Mexican?" he asks, leaning on her cubicle wall. "Mexican," she says without looking up. They know each other's coffee orders. They know each other's allergies. They travel for conferences. The hotel bar. The hotel bar is the most dangerous place on earth for the just friends lie. You are away from home. The rules feel suspended. You are in a liminal space. You are wearing a suit. You feel important. You have a corporate card. One more drink? Why not? They talk about the boss. They talk about the industry. Then they talk about life. "Are you happy?" she asks. That question, the killer question. "I'm okay," he says. "Are you?" "I don't know." They look at each other. The alcohol is warm in their bellies. The hotel room key is in his pocket. "I should go up," she says. "Yeah, me too." They walk to the elevator. The ride up, the silence, the numbers changing. 3, 4, 5. The doors open. Her floor. "Good night," she says. "Good night." She walks down the hall. He watches her. The doors close. He exhales. He survived. But the next morning, at the conference breakfast, they can't look at each other.
The work-spouse relationship is a marriage without the sex, but it has the intimacy. It has the partnership. And when one of them leaves the job, it is a divorce. "I'm going to miss you," he says on her last day. "We'll stay in touch," she says. "We're just friends, right?" "Always." But they drift. Without the daily structure, the friendship fades. They realize the work was the glue. Or they realize the work was the excuse, and without the job in the way, they finally meet for a drink that isn't on the corporate card. And the real story begins. Scene 5, the confessional. Fade in. A montage of faces, different people, talking to the camera, documentary style. Woman, 30s. "I told myself we were friends for 3 years. I was a bridesmaid at his wedding. I stood there and watched him marry her, and I smiled, and inside I was screaming. We were just friends, but friends don't feel like their heart is being ripped out when the other one gets married." Man, 40s. I knew the whole time. I was waiting. I was a vulture. I was waiting for her relationship to die so I could swoop in. It's messed up to say that, but it's the truth. I played the friend role perfectly. I was the shoulder to cry on, and when they finally broke up, I was there. And you know what? It worked. We've been married for 10 years. Woman, 20s. We hooked up once, drunk. We said it was a mistake. We tried to go back to being friends, but it was weird. The joke was gone. The ease was gone. We tried for a month and then we just stopped talking. I miss my friend. I wish we never crossed the line. Man, 50s. There is no such thing. Men and women? No. One of them is always hoping. Always. If they say they aren't, they're lying to you, or they're lying to themselves. Woman, 60s. My husband was my best friend. We were friends for 5 years before we dated. We knew everything about each other. The good, the bad, the ugly. That's why we're still together 40 years later. The friendship is the fuel. The romance is just the fire. You need the fuel to keep the fire burning.
Story. Scene 6. The biological imperative. Fade in. Animation. Neurons firing. Chemicals flooding the brain. Voiceover. Clinical. Detached. When you are attracted to someone, your brain releases dopamine. It is the reward chemical. It feels like cocaine. When you are with them, you get a hit. When you are apart, you go into withdrawal. You check your phone, craving the hit. You see their name, dopamine spike. This is addiction. You are addicted to the person. Now add oxytocin, the bonding hormone, released during eye contact, laughter, touch. It rewires your brain to associate this person with safety and survival. Your frontal cortex, the logic center, says, "We are friends. I am married. This is inappropriate." Your limbic system, the lizard brain, says, "Mate, bond, reproduce." It is a civil war inside the skull. Logic versus instinct. Construct versus nature. The just friends lie is the frontal cortex trying to negotiate a peace treaty with the limbic system. It is a ceasefire. But the limbic system is patient. It waits for the frontal cortex to get tired, to get drunk, to get lonely. And then,
it attacks. Scene 7. The bridge. Fade in. A bridge at sunset. Golden hour. Two people walking, not touching. They are talking about the future.
To retreat into the safety of the lie, or to step into the fire of the truth. Most people choose the fire because we are designed to burn. So the next time you hear someone say, "We're just friends," look closer. Look at the space between them. Look at their eyes. And wait, because the line is about to be crossed.